Full GED practice test exam questions. A circle is inscribed in a square of area 4. What will be the area of the circle? A 2, B, C 16, D/2. B. How does a government measure inflation? A. It confers with expert economists. B. It measures changes in the value of the United States dollar and Treasury bonds. C. It measures the change in value of a list of items. D. It measures the change in the value of a long list of wages and salaries. C. Rather than help to underscore discourse, cable television debate programs often lead to undecipherable bickering. A. Impede. B. Hasten. C. Clarify. D. Catalyze. E. Perish. C. 1. Find a positive number which when increased by 11 is equal to 60 times the reciprocal of the number. A. 15. B. 4. C. 11. D. 7. D. B. He can't do but he can provide consistent and solid performance. A. Apparitions. B. Occupation. C. Qualifications. D. Miracles. E. Misinterpretation. D. If we add oil, water and sweet syrup in a bottle, liquid layers are formed, but they do not mix. What is the reason that they do not mix? A. Different volume. B. Different density. C. Different speed of molecules. D. Different viscosity. B. If the radius of a sphere is increased by 10%, the surface area increases by A. 20%. B. 31%. C. 21%. D. 100%. C. The mean of 100 observations was calculated as 40, but it turned out that one of the observations was misread as 83, but in reality it was 53. What will be the correct mean? A. 40.2. B. 39.7. C. 42.7. D. 40.5. B. When animals, plants and other organisms die, they typically decay completely. But sometimes, when the conditions are just right, they're preserved as fossils. Several different physical and chemical processes create fossils, according to the New York State Geological Survey. Freezing, drying and encasement, such as in tar or resin, can create whole-body fossils that preserve bodily tissues. These fossils represent the organisms as they were when living, but they're very rare. Most organisms become fossils when they're changed through various other means. The heat and pressure from being buried in sediment can sometimes cause the tissues of organisms, including plant leaves and the soft body parts of fish, reptiles and marine invertebrates, to release hydrogen and oxygen, leaving behind a residue of carbon. What title could be best assigned to the above passage? A. How fossils are formed. B. How fossils are preserved. C. How animals decay. D. How fossils are changed. B. Epilepsy is a condition that affects the brain and causes repeated seizures, also known as fits. Epilepsy affects more than 500,000 people in the UK. This means almost 1 in 100 people has the condition. Epilepsy usually begins during childhood, although it can start at any age. What could be the major possible cause of epilepsy according to the information provided above? A. Injury to brain. B. Paralysis. C. Typhoid fever. D. Diabetes mellitus. A. His appearance made many feel comfortable in his moral judgments. A. Brittle. B. Sagacious. C. Prolific. D. Repressive. E. Destitute. B. Some people believe that among rap, country, and popular music, rap is better. A. Some people believe. C. Among D. Better. E. No error. D. Which economic system states that the wealth of a nation depends on its total available capital? A. Capitalism. B. Mercantilism. C. Communism. D. Feudalism. B. Twice the price of a scooter is equal to thrice the price of television. If the price of scooter is $600 more than the television, what is the price of television? A. $1,800, B. $1,500, C. $1,200, D. $2,400. C. Which of the following is an example of something that would not be included in the United States GDP? A. Government spending. B. Money spent by an Italian company in the United States. C. Profit from a factory owned by a United States citizen but operated in Brazil. D. The salary of a non-US citizen working in the United States. C. A poorly performance is typical of students who take tests under pressure. A. Poorly. B. Is C. Who. D. Under. E. No error. A. A plant that produces 100 units of an item decides to make 101 units instead. What is the cost of this additional cost called? A. Cost of growth. B. Per unit expenditure. C. Marginal cost. D. Overhead cost. C. If heat is added to a liquid, which of the following occurs? A. The viscosity of liquid increases. B. The size of liquid molecules expands. C. The molecular motion in the liquid increases. D. The state of liquid changes to solid. E. Heat has no effect on liquids. C. A person at an all-you-can-eat buffet devours his first plate of food, enjoys the second plate and can hardly stomach the third plate. How would an economist explain what is happening here? A. The supply curve was increasing. B. The food's total utility was decreasing. C. The food's marginal cost was increasing. D. The food's marginal utility was decreasing. D. The Cuban Missile Crisis was averted when Kennedy struck a secret deal with the Soviets. A. Was averted. B. When C. Struck. D. With the Soviets. E. No error. E. Which of the following is not a necessary condition for a perfect market? A. The absence of regulation. B. Equal access to technology. C. All actors have total information about the market. D. No barrier to entry or exit. A. How do economists quantify the possibility that invested money could have been used for another purpose later on? A. Risk. B. Cost of money. C. Inflation. D. Opportunity cost. D. The president balked at the new constitution for it limited its powers as military leader. A. Balked at. B. The new constitution. C. D. It's E. No error. D. If there are 1,050 students in a school and the ratio of boys to girls is 9 to 5, then what is the number of boys in the school? A. 800. B. 675. C. 650. D. 445. C. A ladder of a certain fixed length leans against a wall forming a 60 angle between the ground and the ladder. If the bottom of the ladder is 10 feet away from the wall, how long is the ladder? A. 20 feet. B. 10 feet. C. 5 feet. D. 1.54 feet. A. The use of endnotes can underscore the meaning of a paper and create difficulty for potential A. Obfuscate, readers. B. Challenge, graders. C. Reproach, creditors. D. Beseech, belligerents. E. Highlight, critics. E. An investment made by a company or entity based in one country into a company or entity based in another country is a foreign direct investment. These FDIs differ substantially from indirect investments such as portfolio flows, wherein overseas institutions invest in equities listed on a nation's stock exchange. Entities making direct investments typically have a significant degree of influence and control over the company into which the investment is made. Open economies with skilled workforces and good growth prospects tend to attract larger amounts of foreign direct investment than closed, highly regulated economies. The standard of living in the recipient country is also improved by higher tax revenue from the company that received the foreign direct investment. However, sometimes countries neutralize that increased revenue by offering tax incentives to attract the FDI in the first place. Most often, open economies are the destination for FDI, foreign direct investment. Which statement is true regarding this statement? A. FDI creates job opportunities for the host country. B. FDI brings foreign capital for the host country. C. FDI brings both technology and capital for the host country. D. B and C. E. All of above. E. What can cause the release of hydrogen and oxygen from the tissues of organisms? A. Freezing and drying of tissues. B. Heat and pressure. C. Burning. D. Oxidation. B. Two dice are thrown simultaneously. What is the probability of getting a sum of 7 or 11? A. 1/9. B. 1/18. C. 2/9. D. 4/9. C. Why does the marginal cost of most manufactured goods decrease? A. The overhead is spread over more units. B. The factory becomes more efficient. C. New workers will accept lower wages. D. To account for reduced marginal utility. A. A student has to score 15% marks to pass an exam. If he gets 80 marks and is failed by 70 marks, what are the maximum marks set for the exam? A. 150. B. 1,500. C. 100. D. 1,000. D. Years ago, there were much films on biblical themes. Now, the subject is almost taboo. A. Ago. B. Much. C. On. D. Now. E. No error. B. In a college, the ratio of number of boys to girls is 8 to 5. If the number of boys is 160, what will be the total number of students in the college? A. 400. B. 220. C. 260. D. 416. C. Our star is a bubbling, charged ball of gas. It is anything but quiet. Sometimes solar flares are created when magnetic energy is released from the solar atmosphere. When this happens, energized particles race towards Earth, arriving in minutes. How may these solar flares affect us? A. They can strike and burn us. B. Solar flare particles cannot reach beyond Venus. C. They can produce high-energy radiations that can affect us. D. They can produce gigantic particles releasing heat and could burn us. C. If A is the area and C is the circumference of the circle, which of the following shows the relation of A in terms of C? A. 2C. B. 2C2? C. C2/4? D. 4. C. C. An investment made by a company or entity based in one country into a company or entity based in another country is a foreign direct investment. These FDIs differ substantially from indirect investments such as portfolio flows, wherein overseas institutions invest in equities listed on a nation's stock exchange. Entities making direct investments typically have a significant degree of influence and control over the company into which the investment is made. Open economies with skilled workforces and good growth prospects tend to attract larger amounts of foreign direct investment than closed, highly regulated economies. The standard of living in the recipient country is also improved by higher tax revenue from the company that received the foreign direct investment. However, sometimes countries neutralize that increased revenue by offering tax incentives to attract the FDI in the first place. Overseas institutions or individuals investing in equities listed on a nation's stock exchange is an example of indirect foreign investment. Which statement is true regarding this statement? A. By investing in foreign stock exchange, investor takes control over the company. B. By investing in foreign stock exchange, investor delivers new technologies and ideas to the host country. C. By investing in foreign stock exchange, investor provides capital flow only to the host country. D. By investing in foreign stock exchange, investor normally does not receive any significant return. E. None of above. C. If the difference between the two acute angles of a right triangle is 10, what will be the measure of the smaller one? A. 50. B. 40. C. 80. D. 70. B. Regardless of your underscore 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 on the ethical basis of stem cell research, you must admit that it holds considerable scientific value. A. Inclusiveness. B. Prowess. C. Opinion. D. Veracity. E. Cal. C. Our star is a bubbling, charged ball of gas. It is anything but quiet. Sometimes solar flares are created when magnetic energy is released from the solar atmosphere. When this happens, energized particles race towards Earth, arriving in minutes. Why are we well protected from the effects of solar flares on the surface of the Earth? A. Because of magnetic field of our galaxy. B. Because of gravitational pull of Earth. C. Because of magnetic field of Earth. D. Because of magnetic field of Sun. C. The average of 5 consecutive numbers is 30. What will be largest number of these? A. 30. B. 32. C. 33. D. 28. B. An angle is equal to 1/4 of its supplement. What would be the measure of that angle? A. 18. B. 36. C. 45. D. 72. B. Our star is a bubbling, charged ball of gas. It is anything but quiet. Sometimes solar flares are created when magnetic energy is released from the solar atmosphere. When this happens, energized particles race towards Earth, arriving in minutes. What is meant by our star in the passage given above? A. Our galaxy. B. Earth. C. Any other planet. D. Sun. D. In 2 successive years, the population of a town is decreased by 20% and 30%. What percent population is decreased after 2 years? A. 40%. B. 56%. C. 25%. D. 44%. D. The complement of an angle exceeds the angle by 60, then the angle would be A. 30. B. 15. C. 35. D. 90. 15. Sometimes, it is better to underscore 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 one's glee if it is the result of another person's loss. A. Express. B. Contain. C. Demonstrate. D. Destroy. E. Implicate. B. If 200% of a number is 90, then what is the 80% of that number? A. 48. B. 36. C. 28. D. 44. B. What is a necessary prerequisite for industrialization? A. Universal education. B. A democratic government. C. A food surplus. D. The protection of human rights. C. If x and y are two whole numbers such that x caret y equals 121, then the value of x1, y1 would be A. 1b 10c 121d 1000. B. The circumference of a circle is x, units, and the area of the circle is y, units. If x equals y, what would be the radius of the circle? A. 1b 3c, d 2. D.